On January 7th, 2013, adequate notice of this meeting pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act has been furnished by inclusion thereof in the annual schedule of meetings for 2013, which has been posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, filed with the Borough Clerk, Dr. City Hour Town, the record of the community news and the county seat newspapers, and distributed to all persons of any requesting copies of same pursuant to said act. In case of an emergency or fire alarm, you must evacuate the building by using any of the exit doors in the room here immediately to my right and the double doors at the rear of the room. Occupants must exit the building by using the staircase and not the elevator. This meeting is being recorded by both video and audio and may be rebroadcast.
Everybody, please rise. Councilman Eisenberg to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Padovano.
Here.
Council members Maroney,
Here.
Eisenberg,
Here.
Meglia, Ballerini,
Here.
Fleischman,
Here.
Tabré,
Here.
Borough Attorney Ronald Dario,
Here.
Borough Clerk Tim Caligula is here, Borough Administrator Roberta Stern.
Here.
Okay, Mr. Poliniak, engineering report. One, please.
We issued an engineer's report which was prepared and dated March 8th for tonight's meeting. The first project on the list is the EIT project. At this point in time, the initial phase of the project has been closed out entirely. I know the borough last month acted on the closeout resolution and closeout documents. They've been forwarded to the state accordingly to close that portion out of that project. The Spring Valley Pump Station project, the second phase of it, we forwarded a draft agreement to Mr. Dario for his review and use and for his discussion with the borough attorney for the borough premise to enter an interlocal agreement. Subsequent to entering that interlocal agreement, when the borough had available funds, they would purchase the two necessary easements from the Hanjin property in the office building located in Maywood, and then the project would be bid subsequently. The second project on the list is the Spring Valley Road project. That project is coming to conclusion other than the completion of the green space that needs to be addressed at the intersection of the Parkway. That would occur in within probably the next month when the weather turns and the grass would take suit. The next project relates to the Borough Hall monitoring project. On March 6th, our office performed field monitoring services at the Borough Hall at the points that we had set early last year. No signs of settlement were exhibited. Therefore, we intend to conclude our monitoring at this point in time as it relates to any future settlement because none has been exhibited for the past two monitoring sessions. The Hergesell Avenue catch basin and roadway repair. Yesterday, that work was completed on Hergesell. In addition, I believe the Borough DPW had addressed some siltation and sediment that had been accumulating within the pipe that was discovered during the catch basin replacement. Oak Street sidewalk and roadway repair. Per the request of the borough, our office had inspected an issue that occurred during Hurricane Sandy as it related to tree damage of sidewalk and roadway in the vicinity of 691 Oak. Our office last month had issued a quote solicitation to a series of contractors for full roadway restoration for the full width for approximately 150 feet on Oak Street. The solicitation or quotes received were in excess of what the threshold would be. Subsequent, we submitted a second quote solicitation to contractors for reconstructing only half of the roadway and not doing any milling and paving for the remainder half of the roadway, but still addressing the sidewalk issue and curb issue created by the tree fell. That was the lowest responsible quote was issued in the amount of $33,620.47 by D&L Paving Contractors. It was our recommendation based on the scope that the borough was intending to look at as it related to the sidewalk, roadway, and curbing, that the borough move forward with that pending the availability of funds and pending review by the borough auditor. The final project relates to the New Jersey Flood Hazard Mitigation Grant Program. Our office in February had submitted an application as it related to emergency generators that could be utilized by the borough at their sensitive facilities. That was submitted at the February 15th to the Bergen County Office of Emergency Management. That information is being gathered by the end of this month for all municipalities within Bergen County. They would prioritize the list of projects, and then potentially, if any of the projects were selected by Bergen County, OEM, and the state, the borough may receive some grant funding as it relates to some generators in the future.
Mayor, if I could, with regard to number 4, Hergesell, that work was completed today, as well as the cleaning of the line that Mike Berliner from Neglia was concerned about, and everything is finished and completed with regard to that. Oak Street, we haven't prepared anything, but we should be going ahead to do that repair. It's a lot of money, but that roadway and the section that we're talking about really needs to be done. And with regard to New Jersey hazard mitigation, I've been in touch with the people from FEMA. They'll be talking to John Gargagliano from OEM. The document prepared by Greg had to do with generators for our other buildings. There was no other hazard mitigation projects because we don't have streams or this or that complied, but the generators were included in that scope. And I will be tomorrow forwarding you her name and number so you can touch base with her. She
Sure.
had asked to see those documents.
Yeah, we'd be glad to speak with her and address accordingly. I'd be glad to answer any questions that the governing body had.
Anybody have any questions? Questions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. Item number 1, do we have any time frame for when we might be going out to bid for the pump station?
Yeah, as it relates to it, I think we've been working with Mr. Dario. I know Mr. Dario has to speak to the borough attorney for Paramus to finalize this agreement pending his conversations with the borough attorney.
This plane is landing in about an hour.
I was
I
going to
had
say,
breakfast this morning with the mayor of Paramus, and that was one of the items that we did talk about, and he is going to push his professionals to make sure that it just gets done in a timely fashion. I expressed to him that it is our desire to basically have this entirely wrapped up by the end of this year. And then we can all sit around and talk about what we're going to do with the property that's left at the pump house. But certainly, the goal is to get it wrapped up entirely by the end of the year, and Paramus is now moving in that direction as well.
right, and as Mr. Dario said, their attorney has been away. They've been in contact, and hopefully we will get it done very soon.
I mean, it's a project that will move very quickly
And
once construction begins.
Right, and there are some preliminary things that have already been discussed prior to this particular time frame, so it shouldn't take that much for it to be. There's a resolution that Paramus has with River Edge, and more than likely we will follow, very closely with the parameters of that resolution as an interlocal.
Terrific. Also, with the Oak Street sidewalk and roadway repair, I know the specs say construct the western half of the street.
Correct.
My concern is that if we do the western half of the street, we still have a problem with the rest of the street. The street really needs to be paved between Parkway and Mendez, I
Right.
feel.
If I could address that, my original intent when we went out to visit it was to do all of the work that needed to be done. It came in at a much higher number that we could deal with at the moment. We have added Oak Street to a list of streets that need to ultimately be added to our list for streets in the town. But this particular area, these people were, totally inconvenienced by what happened when that huge tree came
Oh, yeah,
down.
the street
And
fell.
and public service was nice enough to come in, take care of the second big tree that was leaning on our, what do you call it, all the utility lines. So they did take that tree down for us. As a result, both of those trees lifted up the roadway. It's not only the sidewalk. So this particular project will take care of that portion. Originally, when Greg and I visited the site, we intended to do with that gas line out to the corner
It
of
was
Mendez.
the full width.
Right.
The only issue that occurred is that the prices that we received were in the $48,000 to $55,000 range, and that well exceeds the threshold with a qualified purchasing agent,
Okay,
so
now,
that couldn't occur.
Pending availability of funds, so you're going to run this through the regular budget, or are we bonding this?
I don't think this will be funded. We'll find money for this particular project. And then the street, as I said, all of Oak really needs to be done. We had hoped to skim part of it. That wasn't going to work because of the dollars involved. And then when we do the street, they'll be able to work around this, I guess, Greg, right? Because this work will be done.
The one concern I have is really if we patch it now,
It's not a patch,
well, repair part of the road, the westerly half.
but it's not a patch.
It's going to be like Spring Valley Road, so I'd rather kind of put a bid together, reinstitute our paving program, and maybe get some prices to do Oak between Mendez and Parkway and finish Spring Valley Road.
Well, I've had conversations with the CFO. We are putting a larger paving package than what was normal together for a bond this year. At this time, the DPW and the engineer are checking all the streets to see and prioritize which streets are going to be done. As you know, we have a grant application out for East Hunter, and depending on how much money we get for that project and how much we want to contribute to that project, that'll enable us to take care of probably the worst part of the worst street in town. If that grant money comes through, anticipating that it does, aside from the grant money, we've talked to Chuck about putting together the bonding for the streets.
Because like, for example, when we did Stelling Avenue that time, the contractor was there, we didn't get to do self-rail at the time, we had to go back and do it, and it costs more to do it later. So if we have a paving contractor, we can, go ahead.
No, but here's the difference. In this particular instance, you have two huge trees that have uprooted.
No, I know, they wrecked the sidewalk, they
wrecked
wrecked
the
the
sidewalk
curb,
and
they
the
wrecked
driveways of two
Absolutely.
people.
No, I got it.
To no fault of
Got it.
their own. So right now, I think our obligation is to put them back whole so they don't have to, I mean, we've been there a number of times, and you were there with me. You don't have to jump over these concrete blocks to get into your driveway. And ultimately, hopefully, part of that will be covered by FEMA. Not the entire project, but at least the part from the first tree that fell. And that's included in our numbers for reimbursement from FEMA. I don't think that we can wait for a street improvement program, which I think the mayor is, correct. We're trying to do that. But these people have been inconvenienced completely, both the entry to their homes. So if we can do this in the meantime, when we get around to doing the rest of the street, Greg, if tell me if I'm incorrect, we can excavate to get rid of those major, outgrowths of the roots into the street, and it's a separate issue. When we do the street, if in fact we do all of Oak as, need be, it will be a separate issue. It will not compromise what we're doing here. And if I'm wrong, I'm not an engineer.
What we would do is, again, it would be a half width of the road. It would be
Right.
one half width of the road for about 150 feet. It would be in the section where, if you visit the site, you could see where the roots are uprooting the roadway. You can see where the sidewalk was damaged, the curbing, and the two aprons.
There's no doubt it's a wreck.
Those would be-
They've been inconvenienced since October.
Those would be replaced and addressed. If you didn't do that, you would need to include that as part of your road paving program if you chose to pave Oak in the future.
I mean, Mr. Fleischman makes a good point. Obviously, you don't want to do something twice.
Correct.
You
Right.
want it-
Right, if you're milling the road, excavating the road, you got the equipment there, how much more is it going to be to mill the rest?
The unfortunate thing is there may be actually worse streets in town at this point.
Right.
That, we're talking about possibly doing pieces of streets to get the worst of the worst done on whatever limited funds we can cobble together, to hit the worst areas. And it may be doing, 1,000 feet of roadway here, 1,000 feet of roadway there, and doing it all over the place in town to try to, again, get the worst of the worst up to a bearable level with, the funds that the council
Limited.
agrees to bond
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have for the engineer, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Greg, were you able to evaluate the Spring Valley side of Cleveland Field, the retaining wall there that's coming down?
I did not have a chance to do that, but I will take a look at that.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's it.
Anybody else? Mr. Kodiak?
Thank you.
Okay, next item is proclamation presentations. It is my great pleasure to advise the council that we are presenting certificates of recognition to 4 teachers from the Borough of Maywood. This year, 2 teachers, one from Memorial School, one from Maywood Avenue School, won the 2012-2013 New Jersey Governor's Teacher of the Year Award. They are Eileen Baker from Memorial School and Denise Biggins from Maywood Avenue School. Beth Frislin from Memorial School and Patricia Barber from Maywood Avenue School won the 2012-2013 Maywood Board of Education Teacher of the Year Award, and we will be presenting on behalf of the Borough certificates of recognition to all 4 of the teachers. As everyone knows, Maywood is very blessed that we have a very, very good, high-quality grammar school K-8 program, and these 4 individuals, certainly are one of our best teachers that we have, and it's just my pleasure to recognize them on behalf of the borough, and I will be presenting the certificates that we have tonight to them through the school, through Mr. Bauer and through Mr. Jordan. So I congratulate all 4 of them and thank them for their service. So they are not here tonight, obviously, but we will be making a presentation, or I will be making a presentation through the schools for them. Public hearing on pending ordinances, adoption of ordinances. We have no pending ordinances. Correspondence, report of the borough clerk.
Other than what's on our action list, I did, as the engineer brought up, the Spring Valley. There's a closeout resolution required if you want to add that onto the next agenda. And I think that's it. That was the only additional thing that came in just yesterday. So, and there'll be an additional resolution for ban on next week's agenda as well.
Bond
Participation.
participation.
Okay. I thought you said they banned.
I'm sorry, using acronyms.
John Sousa.
Yeah. No, as we had in the past, just letting you know in advance.
Okay, I'm presuming that the CFO will provide us with copies of that prior to the next.
Well, we'll get that during the week. We usually get it a couple days before from bond counsel. So upon receipt, I will distribute that to mayor and council. I'm sure you'll have it in time for your packets prior to the meeting.
Borough Administrator.
Mayor, excuse me, the only thing I have tonight, we had gone out to get some information about 26, our ambulance vehicle, and I had a estimate prepared by Gerber, who we've been using for some of our commercial vehicles. The repair to that vehicle would be anywhere lowball $15,000 to as high as $23,000. And based on the original correspondence from our volunteer EMTs, I think that I would like to include this vehicle in the next auction. And I'd like to ask everyone on the council if they know about any equipment that needs to be put out for bid, to let me know so that we could prepare a resolution for hopefully either the next meeting or the first one in April. We need to advertise. It's going to be an online auction, but we need to enumerate each item, whether it be a radio, in some cases, or a vehicle, so that we can go out to bid on them. I really don't feel that the town should put any more money into this particular vehicle based on comments of our volunteer organization and the estimate that we got from Gerber, who we have been using to do some of our commercial repairs. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Anybody have any comments on the 26 issue?
Mr. Mayor, I just know from being in the meetings, that's, the administrator is correct, that's a sentiment of the squad, that they no longer want to use it, they don't want to drive it. It has very limited use at this point, and they've actually asked to have it taken out of service, which at this point it is. That's all.
I mean, just to complete the record, the only thing that we did pay for was the leak that it had, so that it wasn't leaking gas all over the place wherever we have it parked. So I don't have the exact number, it'll be minimal, but they did repair that gas leak.
Yeah, I know during the storm, I requested that the ambulance actually be brought into the bay, so as not to get any more damage from the weather. And when they
yet
brought it in,
leaked.
it leaked gas all over the place, and the police requested that it be taken out of the bay.
Right.
Anything else?
No, that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Borough Attorney.
I have no report this evening, Mr. Mayor.
Councilman Maloney.
The only question I had, Mr. Mayor, was, just family got asked me about background checks for the coaches that are part of the softball program that are not made with the coaches, they were show park coaches. They already had their own thing in the background checks. Was that the piggyback to us?
If they use the multi-track company, as I think they do, then yeah, then it's all you have to do is once every 3 years. I think it goes on the fourth year you have to re-up. But if they use multi-track, and I'm 99% sure they do, then that works.
Okay, so do they have to report to us, or does it stay just within their municipality?
If the chief,
The chief.
yeah, if the chief,
Talk to that chief.
yeah, we'll sync that up.
Confirm that they've been
Yeah,
done,
because-
so that, you then don't have to do it again.
Well, on the form, it tells you who they have to give the report to. In this
Right.
case, since their coach is there, all we need to do is verify from our chief to their chief that those people have a record of having this done. That would be-
Not that they have a
No, what's the right word? Not a
The
record, but
report.
the report,
They've
sorry.
gone through the...
Procedure, sorry, the procedure has been, yes,
That.
sorry about that. But anyhow, I mean, once it's been done, it's finished, regardless of where they get it done.
I'll speak to the chief on it.
That's all. Mr. Eisberg.
Just briefly, I met with the building inspector and followed up on the house on Appling and Oak there with potential boarding house, and he said that he had it under control and that a summons was issued, and he was just following up with it. He had spoken with the landlord who lives in Washington State, and the landlord indicated to him that he was going to work to rectify the problem. That's it with respect to that. I had the opportunity to attend the SIDS meeting. There were a couple issues there with getting the bushes to be more established in the medians, so to create a contiguous, border of shrubbery, stop you from crossing through it. And there was some concern about the electric cords going from tree to tree along the ground. They were looking into potentially getting an electrician to look into doing something from the top of the trees rather than along the ground.
If I might, with regard to 40 Taplin, we did have a resident who approached. Everybody has moved out of the home. We were in touch with the owner of the property, who previously actually lived in that 40 Taplin. Nobody lives there anymore. They moved out before the fine was assessed. We had given them a week, and Mr. Song was very anxious about it and had them all out of there. And we did hear from the resident, and she was a witness to them all moving out. So nobody lives in the house, and it is back on the market, and I suggested to the owner that he perhaps was more careful with the broker that he gave it to so that he wouldn't be in the same situation again.
Was anything done with the house on Central Avenue? by any chance?
You're talking about the multiple, that backs up to the train tracks on the
Right.
southern side. I believe that in the same vein that he's doing, he's contacting those owners too about multiple tenancies, and going through the same process that he went through with this one, which is the same process that he went through with the house that's very close to this property. Unfortunately, these multiple rentals are popping up a lot. Maybe it's an economic thing or whatnot, but I know that that one he's also looking into. I don't know
I'm
the
not
status
that
of it.
familiar with that one. Maybe you
You'll
could
find
fill
out
me
when
in
that
and,
meeting, find out what the status is on that one.
thank you.
Anything else, Mr. President?
Thank you.
Mr. Bellerin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last Wednesday, the Board of Ed had a special meeting to introduce their budget for 2013. It's the budget they plan to submit. In the budget is a 1.7% increase, and the net effect on the tax will be 2 points, so there'll be no vote on the budget this year. One other matter from the board, actually from the teachers at Memorial School, if we could add that parking lot over by Memorial School to the list of...
It's already on.
Is it?
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. I won't ask for it to be moved up. I'll let you guys...
We're looking for a, like a little partial payment from the other side.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Would you like me to help go...
Sure.
Bring that up at the next meeting?
Absolutely.
We'll waive
The permit is, they can pay the whole
They can pay the whole thing
Pay the whole thing, we'll waive the
We'll
permit
strike
fees.
it. We'll strike it.
Well, they can rent the spaces from us.
Oh, yeah.
Even better. That's right, we do have to represent to the...
Even better. That's gonna go over well.
Let the record reflect that Jonathan has agreed to the space project.
So I hope I successfully recorded my friend.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Who would have to?
That's all?
That's it.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you.
I'm sorry. That was...
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just briefly, we probably have 2 additional trucks at the DPW that would be available for auction, the 97 Mason dumps, that definitely don't warrant investing any more money in as far as repairs go. So Donnie and Charlie can get on that, let you know on that.
Just want a list and VIN numbers.
You got it. Also, hopefully, that was the last of winter last week. The guys down in the garage have pretty much perfected the use of our brine system. We have the tank set up properly, the pump system is working great. The mix, we can make 1,000 gallons probably in about an hour and a half to 2 hours, which will cover the entire town. We have the settings on the distribution system where originally we thought it would take 1,200 to 1,500 gallons to do the whole town. We can do it with 1,000 gallons. Covers all the main roads, the hills, all the trouble spots, and in the 12-inch snowstorm that we had, and even on Friday, I know it got warm right away, but there was less matting during the day. It was a daytime event, and daytime events are very difficult to plow. All the traffic, everybody to and from, school was open all day, so the brining actually helped melt that as it landed. So we were in much better shape and were able to clean a lot faster and keep the schools and the roads around the schools and the sidewalks done at a faster pace. So everybody was able to get in and get out in a timely fashion, and the brine helped quite a bit with that. Other than that, working some other things down the garage. We'll be cleaning up the garage. We're going to work on painting the building and cleaning everything up down there, and the guys are working on the plan for that, and we're moving forward looking to spring, get the parks ready, playground mulch, get the fields ready, get the pool ready. Hopefully winter is over. We've had enough. And that is all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Council President Bray.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Roberta, you covered the 26, I have that on there.
Oh, sorry.
For the auction, there's the fire department, we found a lot of stuff. We found
Right.
radios,
I
lights.
I
put them
really
in the
need,
box.
right, I
on,
need
on
items
top
and
of
I
that.
need numbers, if there are any identification numbers, because in order to advertise it, in order for the borough clerk to put together a resolution, we need very specific information.
And serial numbers, is that what you're talking?
Yes,
Okay.
and that should be on the fixed asset list, so if nothing else, Jerry Galatano has that.
Okay. There was something I actually meant to talk to you, and Frank, you brought it up in my memory, so thank you. There's one thing on the form that the coaches take that seems to be missing for the background checks. It's a contributor's case number. When you go online.
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, if you got it.
No, next week.
Oh, okay. All right, when you go online, there's a drop-down, and there's nowhere to put there's no case number on the...
Yeah, the state gives us, the state police assigns that to us, and she told me within 10 days, and that was like Friday of last week, so.
Okay, I'll let them know. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Briefly, April 2nd is Autism Awareness Day. You will likely see blue ribbons throughout the borough, and we are potentially going to be shading the lights at Borough Hall on the outside of the building with blue lighting so that we show our support for autism. Again, the Green Team has beds open for this spring's planting. Any organization in town that wishes to lay claim to a gardening bed, the community garden has 10 beds available for any organization, Maywood organization who wants to take ownership of the bed for the season. Planting will be, I guess, sometime in May and run throughout the summer. The borough will assist with watering and providing soil. We still have some grant money left to obtain soil. We'll be putting a fence around the community garden soon with the grant money that's available. So I encourage any organization that wishes to participate to contact the borough administrator or the borough clerk and advise them, and they will pass the information along to the Green Team. There is a shred day, while we're on green issues, there's a shred day on April 20th at the Maywood Avenue School front lot, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And the 4th of July parade will be on the 4th of this year. I believe the fireworks are going to probably be this Saturday, the 6th. After the 4th, this year's theme is celebrating our American heritage. The 4th of July committee is looking for names to be submitted for the Grand Marshal this year. Names have to be submitted to the 4th of July committee by April 15th. And then be voted on at the May meeting of the committee. Our newest restaurant, Potbelly, is having its grand opening on March 23rd. That is in the Bergen Town Center parking lot. It fronts in the parking lot between the main building and the Maywood buildings. I encourage everyone to support that business as it is located in Maywood. And we're looking forward to our pancake house opening someday soon, I think.
Looks beautiful.
It's coming along very well. And again, we did receive grant money, matching grant, $187,000 to preserve the house on the corner of Central Avenue and Maywood Avenue. There is a growing number of citizens who are coming forward wanting to serve on a committee to try to determine how we can obtain the remainder of the funding necessary to secure the property. And I would recommend that anybody who wishes to get involved, please contact the borough clerk or the borough administrator. And I believe that is all that I have.
Yes. The garden committee, is there an upcoming meeting or the shade tree people want to attend?
The Green Team meeting will be, you know what?
I forgot.
Is it next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday?
Next Tuesday.
Thank you.
Yes, because we actually have to start and move forward on the tree farm issue. We do have $2,000 that the borough has from public service that was granted or awarded to need to spend that money and start planting trees. Great. That's all I have at this point. I'll open the meeting to the public. Anybody from the public wishing to speak, come forward.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Council. My name is David Moran. I live at 121 West Magnolia Avenue, Maywood, New Jersey. I'm a resident in town, ownership-wise for 14 years. I'm a lifelong resident here. My issues tonight are a two-part issue. The one issue that I have is, both of them are safety. The one issue that I have is with our rehabilitation center that's located at the bottom or the western end of West Magnolia Ave. Excuse me. This rehabilitation center creates for us, I speak for myself, but there's quite a bit of residents affected by this, but for myself, I speak of, it's created a considerable amount of traffic, and the traffic is dangerous traffic. It's, you have aero ambulances, you have New Jersey Transit that has a route now situated on our block. They use it as a jitney express. They speed. There's U-turns in our driveways with parked cars. I have a solution to the problem for that, and with due respect, I think our town should install signs, residential parking signs, 2-hour parking signs on our block. I think that makes sense. I've driven around Bristol Manor, Rochelle Park, the Chateau, any surrounding area of those nursing homes. There's signs, specific signs, residential parking, 2-hour parking, and I think that would be effective. I think that would help our parking situation. The parking situation for the rehab center, however, is slim. There's not much parking there. There's an overflow of traffic. I don't know what the town can do for that. I don't know what they can do for that. There is some space on the very west end of that. There's a brook there. There's space there that they can utilize. But again, I'm not an engineer. I'm not a planner. I could just suggest. But there is quite a bit of traffic in our neighborhood because of this rehab center. Back in 2000, I came to the council meeting, and a lot of our residents living there at the time, and we fought to have that entrance blocked to public traffic, the entrance coming off of West Magnolia Ave. It was, at that time, the establishment was going up as Maywood Senior Assisted Living, it was called. And we were assured that we weren't going to have much traffic, there wasn't going to be much flow, and that there's a possibility that we can use that entrance only for fire, emergency, that kind of thing. Keep it out of the public's thoroughfare, I guess, or whatever. So basically, what I'm saying is if we can minimize the traffic, if we can maybe get some signs on the major roads.
Are you noticing that people parking on the streets are visitors or employees?
They're employees, mostly employees. Yeah, I've seen some visitors. There are. I've seen, and it creates dangerous situations because now you're walking from a distance and you're walking on our sidewalks. I've seen a lady go down on that last snowfall. A lady fell. I pulled up to her. I was dropping my kids off to school. I pulled up to her. I said, "Can I help you?" Oh, she was on the ground. I said, "Can I call the ambulance for you? Are you okay?" She says, "I'm fine." I said, she goes, "Oh no, I work here." So it's creating a dangerous situation for workers, for the public, safety, kids on the streets playing. That end of Magnolia never really ended correctly. It's been, and it's fine, it's just now that it's magnified, the traffic is magnified that fault. So for us, that's a big issue that maybe you guys can look into. My second issue, and I'll be brief, there's an establishment that went up, I believe in August. It was for the severe disabled. It was a house that was sold to the state, I believe, or rented to the state. And currently now there's 3 severely disabled children, I believe autism, and there's other sort of disorders that are going on there. within the last 7 months that they've been in business, myself, we've called the police, 911 twice, and the 8800 number 3 times for one of their, I guess it's one of their patients or one of the, coming onto our yard and coming onto our deck, looking in our windows. I have it on videotape. He goes into my neighbor's yards. I have a few neighbors here tonight who are on the same page with me with this whole, with both of these issues. I won't speak for them. I'll let them if they want, but I'm bringing to light that, there has to be some sort of safety for us as residents from this particular issue. My kid's no stranger to disabilities. My nephew, my brother's child, is severely autistic. We have a neighbor who has an autistic daughter. So we're not strangers to that whole thing. It's become scary. This child that comes onto our property is 13 or 14 years old. He's been on our yard 5 times. He's come close to pushing one of my kids off the swing because he has this tunnel vision and our yard is attractive to him. So now he has opened up this way to our yard, and it's been about 5 times now. It's happened. 4 of the times we called the police. The other time I kept it quiet for my daughter's sake. Shut the blinds. My kids are being terrorized. My daughter's terrorized, and I feel bad. And maybe that's an issue you guys can take up and maybe direct me in a certain way I can go to alleviate the situation.
Well, I mean, I know that I've noticed the police reports, police reports. Had the borough administrator contact the supervisor at that house
Children's Aid and Family Service.
to...
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Children's Aid and Family Service, they are in charge of those individuals. There are 2 14-year-old twins and a young 15-year-old young man. They are all autistic and they are all nonverbal. But as it happens, because I've read the reports, there were 5 reports from the police department from August through March.
That's up, yes.
And he was identified as an adult male. He happens to be a larger youth, so he's not 20, he's 15. He was 14 when they moved in. He has since become 15. We have discussed this with the Vice President of Children's Aid and Family Service. She's aware of it. We have faxed her a copy of the police reports, which she is entitled to see as the guardian of that home. And we'll have to go from there. He is, I understand where you're coming from. You have children, it's your yard, but he does have a particular fixation with swing sets, which is what drives him to your backyard. But we'll be in touch with them. We'll see where we go with it. But they're aware of it, as we are. He is non-threatening, but...
I disagree. I disagree
well,
with that.
I understand.
However, can
No, I just wanted to say, I haven't seen him, but
Okay.
I understand from the description,
Yes.
because he's a large young man,
Right, yes.
that it might appear more threatening, and I'm not going there. All I'm
Yes.
saying is, we're aware of it, we've been in touch with them, they're examining the situation, and...
Well, obviously, there's supervision that is required at these facilities,
Right,
and we have to make sure that these people are
exactly.
supervised, because quite frankly, not only for your purposes and people living in the
For
area,
theirs.
For their purposes, that facility is 3 blocks away from Route 17.
Right.
And I don't want to see a child be unattended and walk onto Route 17.
Absolutely not. No child, for whatever reason. But now I had, on the last time this happened, on the last occurrence, I went to the house, knocked on the door. Because I wanted to know. I wanted to know what is going on. You're terrorizing my kids. They won't go in the yard anymore, without at least us within sight. So there was 2 ladies that answered the door, and they basically understood my situation, and they told me that The child, according to their medical records, I'm going by what they're telling me. This child should be medicated. However, the family does not want to medicate this child. There's 2 workers there, and at times there's 1 worker there. I'm going by what they told me. There's 1 worker there.
During the day when they're at school, there's 1 worker.
But this is the morning, early morning.
Well, they go to school, according to what I was told. The bus comes for them at 8 o'clock in the morning approximately and returns them to the site between 3 and 4. At that time, there is 1 supervisor, 1 caretaker. For the other time, there are 2 per individual residing there.
Okay, according
So,
to
I mean,
them,
well,
right, there
again-
was-
Look, at the end of the day...
There was no
At
help.
the end of the day, there needs to be supervision.
Right, and-
That's for the benefit of everybody.
And if I
Right,
can
and-
suggest, maybe get in touch with the owner, or I shouldn't say owner, the, of that childcare,
It's Donna Kennedy, who is the Vice President of Children's Aid and
there's
Family
a gentleman
Services.
that's a hands-on manager there, or...
He's not responsible. She is.
Okay.
She runs the home.
Please let her know that
Right.
this is a very big issue, and according to the 2 workers,
She's,
they
right.
said that...
Maybe we can do a conference call tomorrow, we'll
I think,
It
but
goes in one ear and out the other,
she's very willing, no, but she's very willing. I've spoken to her personally. She's very willing to deal with it. She'd like to meet with any of the residents who have an issue. I'm very happy to give you her phone number. She couldn't be here tonight. I would have liked her to be here, but she had another obligation. She couldn't be. And at the end of the day, it's something that we're all working towards a good end for, and that's it. So she understands your,
We all have to live in harmony.
right.
Absolutely.
We'll absolutely keep on top of it, and
Thank you.
pressure them to make sure that there's proper supervision, because again,
Thank
you.
it goes to the benefit of them, of their children. too.
Everybody.
So, and we're not going to see somebody
Absolutely.
get hurt on any portion of it.
Right.
Absolutely. I have no further issues. They're both equally as important to us and to our neighborhood. So please look into them for us.
Can I add, you and I had a conversation, but can I add to David's concerns in the fact that the property itself, the rehab has an address of 100, which falls in the middle of West Magnolia, so the ambulances stop in the middle of the street because they don't know where they're going, and traffic buzzes around them in either direction while they're looking.
Again, I've spoken to Trevor Dublin, who is the administrator of that facility, on more than one occasion. We have already determined that there's no parking, and the signs aren't up yet, but we passed that ordinance where there's no parking on Eccleston and no parking in front of the senior center where they've been known to park. He has spoken to some of the residents. He has asked to meet with them. I have his name and phone number. He's willing to meet with everybody. They have rented additional spaces for parking. They were going to rent them from us at the pool. In the meantime, they rented from one of the businesses on Brook. So there shouldn't be much of a parking issue anymore. All of these people have been told not to. Families, on the other hand, are a different issue.
But this is not a parking.
No, I'm getting to that part of it. So the parking issue is one thing, and we understand it's been an inconvenience. With regards to the ambulances, they know that they're not allowed to come there as per the planning board resolution approving this site. Unfortunately, from what I've been told, Aero, who is the main carrier, their private one, has been told they have to come in from Brook. Because they have Medicaid patients, there is a 1-800 number that they have to call, logistics something or other. Those people do not know that they're not supposed to come down Magnolia. He has assured me that he will start writing letters to all of the companies that they're not supposed to come down Magnolia. We've had this conversation for the last 7 or 8 months. So I have to take him at his word. Let's see what happens. He has told me that he will.
So the question I have is, besides that, is what's their physical address?
100 Magnolia, from what I know. Everyone.
How do they have 100 Magnolia if 100...
I wasn't on the planning board when that was approved.
The planning board doesn't give out the address.
No me culpa, that's on that one.
100 West Magnolia.
What's that?
Where Zach Master used to be there, that was 100 West Magnolia.
Okay, so 100 falls in the middle of the block.
So maybe we
So what's
suggest...
happening is the ambulance is stopping because they're lost, and they don't know where they're
I
going.
don't know how many times that happens, but I'd love somebody to tell me which ambulance to say, well, they got lost on the way to an emergency to pick up. No, I'm just saying, I think that would be good to know.
I visit Patty Donovan's house often, and I can't tell you how many times I have to stop ambulances that are just parked in the middle of the street that don't know where they're going.
Do you know if, are they AERO, A-E-R-O?
They're all private ambulances.
Yeah, so that was the issue that he was explaining to me, that unfortunately,
Anytime traffic is whizzing around on either
right,
side.
I'm sure.
What is Vicarious address there? You know what I mean, the corner house.
What's your address, Patty?
No.
Because Hamlet's 114, then you have whatever the corner house is, and West Maywood 100 is right across the street.
298 Eccleston was the old Vicary, or,
Michelle Hamlet's 114.
yeah, but the Eccleston, the Vicaries is on the, is
Oh, that's
situated,
on Eccleston.
it's facing
Okay.
the block, right?
That's why that carried over.
That's the address I was going to suggest, that's the address the administrator should give out.
No, quite frankly, the address should be
I
Brook.
can't give out an
The
address,
should
it doesn't
be Brook.
exist.
Right.
When it comes in off of Brook.
Thank you.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah, didn't he?
If you're going to go that far,
Yeah,
that
the
would be
address
the
needs to be Brook, you're right.
ultimate, that would be the ultimate fix, if you're going to go that route.
Romano, the 101.
I don't think that's all of it. I think that these people, unfortunately, you have people coming from all over who don't know the area from these, other ambulance services.
We have to
So,
have a heart-to-heart with the...
right, and I think that, and Mr. Dublin was very happy to approach it that way and contact all, he's done it on a regular basis, he's happy to contact, they want to be good neighbors, and I'm not defending them in any way, don't get me wrong, I'm just trying to say if we're trying to make something work, he has, expressed the interest to make whatever we need to do happen.
Roberta, when did they say that they got the parking on the off-site?
That happened a couple of months ago when we had offered them our spots, and he said to me, I no longer need yours, so that had to be 2 or 3 months ago, and they're now...
Presuming you're still Brook.
Well, I've noticed that the bottom of the very western end where it dead ends, there's quite a few cars parked down there when there's no events at the senior center.
Well, the signs aren't up yet. There's now, our ordinance prohibits parking there, so anybody will be ticketed. Again, I don't know if anybody else has had an individual in a nursing home. I have. When you want to go see somebody, sometimes you kind of push the envelope.
Yeah.
But once we have signs there, we will ticket them. Right now, there are no signs, but Eccleston and the area right in front of the senior center has been by ordinance a few months ago. Signs aren't up yet, they're ordered, but will no longer be permitted.
Do you happen to know, and you may not know the answer, the people that are parking on the western end of...
Are they
employed? Are they going to that facility?
I don't
Or are
think
they
so.
going to the facility that's next to that facility, the adult daycare? Because I've kind of seen potential problems there parking-wise.
Adult daycare, and where does that take place? I'm not familiar.
It's in
Right on the
back
bend.
of- right.
Right on the bend.
Where the old sleeping
I don't know.
building was in there,
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh,
there's
yes,
something- right,
yes,
yeah.
New home, yes, I know
Something, yeah.
exactly. There, and what was the question? Do they
The
go in
question is, do you
there?
think that the ones that are all the way on the western are parking for that facility?
I wouldn't, it's
I don't know
hard, it's hard
if
to
you
say.
know.
I see people walking to the rehab center that are parked on that street. I do not see people going the other way, but again,
We don't police it, but I've been told by both the director of nursing at that facility and the administrator that both visitors and employees have been told where not to park. As I said, sometimes you're running in to see a loved one and you only have 10, 15 minutes, so maybe you're not paying attention to what they told you they have family meetings and they have employee meetings. I'm not there. I don't know if people listen
We will
when you have
definitely
limited
contact
time.
them as well and have a heart-to-heart with
thank
them.
you, Mr.
Right.
Mayor. Thank you. Thank you. I have no more questions, council. Thank you very much. Good night.
Mr. Richards?
I wasn't here then.
Which is 347 Gulf Avenue. Excuse me, just, Frank grew up in Magnolia. I grew up in Magnolia. Zegmeister's faced Magnolia, it was 100. So that's where the number came from.
Everything filled in around it,
Okay.
that's what the problem is.
And just two other quick things about that. The facility was never advertised or presented to the council or the planning board, because I was involved in the purchase of the property and the like, and the whole enchilada. It was always going to be a rehab and long-term care facility. There may have been some gossip, as like there's going to be a Dunkin' Donuts, a pizza place, and a Chicken Licken at the corner of Maywood and Passaic Street. I'm sure you've all heard that. That was a joke. But you've all heard those things go out and they get spread. But that facility, the people there, as the administrator said, my mother was in one of their other facilities, the same organization. I've always found them, when my mother was in there, and with them now, to be very responsible, and that they react very well to the community. So I think that any problems will be able to straighten out through the administrator. I got a couple of things. First of all, I'm going to stop by tomorrow and get a copy of that, because that thing on 26, because I hope if you do, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say about it. I wish you didn't. I wish you didn't, but I wish you didn't, because it's something that cannot be replaced. I think that number is inflated. Okay.
That's why I gave you both. I gave you the inflated side and the lower end.
But I'm not saying you did it.
No,
If you're
I'm
going to sell
reading through the
there's a whole
paperwork.
lot of people going to bid on it, so if you're going to sell it, put a number on it that you make money on, because you just can't get them. And there's a whole society, okay, a group of people that are nuts about those vehicles. So,
100 grand?
well, it costs us $75,000.
No, I'm just looking for a bid. I'm
Well,
looking
it
for an
cost us
auction price.
$75,000 in 1976.
Okay.
That's what it cost
The
us.
tailgating thing for the
Okay,
borough.
plus if you looked at the equipment that carried, how are you gonna get that to a fire, okay? So you're gonna look at doing something else. The fiberglass body, the engine and the transmission are both relatively brand new, okay, because they were replaced. It probably needs a radio and some other stuff, but that number is kind of crazy. All right. So I would put a heavy number on it. A couple of quick things. I called the administrator today to tell her that, as you know, Mr. Mayor, I get most of the musical organizations for the parade. And I told people to send the contracts to the administrator. In the course of our conversation, she told me that they were going, first, it's at the Garden State Band, which is, you know what I refer them to, the Dirty White Shirt Band. Okay. But then she said it's the Garfield alumni.
I never said that.
Today.
I never said that. You said it was the Garfield. I
Well,
just
because
said...
you said the group on the flatbed.
Yeah, but I never said that. I said the group on the flatbed.
That's who they
Don't
are.
put words in my mouth. I didn't know who they were.
Okay, but the group on the flatbed, who is the alumni? I'm not putting words in.
What's happening down there?
Okay, all right, let's all calm down. The Garfield alumni is the group on a flatbed. I might add that there are Maywood residents in that group, and the Maywood resident, okay, is the arranger for the group, Bobby Farrell, okay? Incredible horn player, brother. Incredible. So I would,
What was the issue with it?
well,
I don't know, Mr. Richards, what the issue was.
well, you told me they weren't going to be brought back. That's what you said.
That was the conversation that you and I had. I didn't think we were going to bring it up at the meeting, otherwise I won't talk to you about these things.
You said it wasn't going to happen. I came here
No.
because I think it should happen, because we were at the meeting and it was never brought up at the meeting. Okay? Okay, so...
Presumed it was happening.
Okay, so because I had already gone to them as I had told the group and whatever, so you guys work it out, let me know, okay? I have to ask you about the grant for the house, okay? Are we going to pay 10% to the grant writer as in a
I don't
contract?
think it hits the threshold yet.
No.
It hit the threshold yet.
Because it just boggles my mind why they did it, because it had always been done in-house before that. We got almost, almost $500,000 from 71 to 201 to 207 with those numbers, okay? And you also have to take in consideration, there's the money it's going to cost to buy it, then you got to make it ADA accessible, you got to put a parking lot in, $20,000 a space. I don't have to tell you, the numbers just go up, so your committee's going to have a heck of a time. I wish you would get back to a road program like we had, which was a very effective road program. It was a road program that money was put aside each year. We bonded certain dollars each year. You get a grant from the state or CBDG, and then you take the $100,000 or $200,000 if it's over a 2-year period. We, as I'm sure Commissioner Fleischman remembers, we put money away each year for that, so that we were able to do an incredible number of streets in this town. And by the way, Frank, I hate to disagree. I've been going up and down Spring Valley Road every day, and that road is okay. I mean, that paving is not bad. It's as good as you get. So please forgive me. I disagree with you on that. Okay. There is a list. There should be a list at the DPW right now. You may want to add some streets to it, but there is a priority list that was made every single year. I hope the engineer put it together last year, but it should be in the file. It should be accessible. You should be able to look at it and see what there is available. Okay. Okay. Aside from that, don't give me anything. We've been pals for a while.
Very long time, 30-something,
Okay.
30-something years.
Good night.
Have a night.
I am leaving.
Anybody else? Come on.
Oh, just one other thing. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry about it.
Come on.
No, I'm sorry. I meant to tell you this. The house with the autistic children, okay? How many people here know Andy Lisa? You know Andy Lisa? He is one of the people responsible for that house almost on a daily basis. So if there's problems, you may want to just pick up the phone and call Andy. I spoke to him a couple of days ago about this particular incident that the gentleman was talking about. He was going to look into it. Okay? So you may want to get a hold of Andy, because he pulls a lot of bells over there. Good night, folks.
Thank you.
Oh, what? No.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the council. My name is Andrzej Burkhardt. I live at 298 Eccleston Place, which is just vis-a-vis from that rehabilitation center. I would like to add to what David already brought up, and that the issue is not as grave as it is, but there are two other factors which contribute to lower quality of life for us in that corner. One is increased foot traffic around this facility, and the other is some people call it light contamination. About foot traffic, this is a short issue. That generates, unfortunately, some increased amount of garbage flying around with the wind. And I was wondering if I may suggest to the council that a couple of large fixed waste baskets be installed in that area, on the corner maybe, here and there, so people see them and perhaps bring their garbage to those waste baskets. That's one thing that I might want to suggest. Another related to light contamination. Well, I live on the corner of Eccleston Place and Magnolia Avenue, and it's a corner property which once had 5 trees on the sidewalk. Over time, I've been there for 26 or 27 years, we lost all of them. And now that contributes to light contamination coming from the rehabilitation center. Of course, I understand it has to be light in the parking lot and whatever, but now we have very bright neighborhood is it light in our windows, in our eyes. So, would it be possible to suggest maybe to the Shade Tree Commission to put more attention to that corner and put more trees up on either side of Eccleston Place maybe, which would simply decrease the amount of light coming out of the rehabilitation center. That was the second thing. Now I have a question. Please correct me, maybe I didn't understand this correctly. There are parking prohibition signs to be put on in certain borough ordinances to deal with the parking limitation. Would that apply just the same to the residents? Which means, after that ordination comes in force and the signs are up, would the residents be able to park their cars in front of their properties or not? How is that going to be addressed?
I believe, I'd have to look at the ordinance again, but I believe it's on the west side of the street. The east side of the street where the homes are would not be prohibited. It is on the west side of Eccleston, in front of the Maywood Healthcare Center.
I see.
That'll be prohibited.
Okay. So it's like,
I mean, again, that was my recollection of what we did.
it's like just the length of the property front before this rehabilitation center, and then at the first house vis-a-vis.
Well, I think it's either 25 or 50 feet in, and then the signs start.
Okay.
So it was to prohibit what people complained about earlier with those people from, visitors basically parking there. Again, I'll double check it, and I'm happy to get back to you. I don't remember, we did that and the signs aren't posted, but I think it was just on the west side, not the east side. Not on the homeowner's side, it's on the side of the...
There are homes on the other side, but maybe the parking ban would not extend that far into Eccleston.
I'm happy if you'd like to call me, I'll go over with you. I have to look it up. I don't remember the exact details.
Okay, so what I'm concerned is that we don't,
Well, you're allowed to
with the
park during the
backwater.
day, you're not allowed to park at night anyhow, but this was a prohibition on one side of the street, if I remember correctly, that there was no parking at all. Is that everybody else's recollection?
Off the top of my head, I don't...
Yeah, no, I'm saying, it's 4 months ago, but, yeah, well, as I
That's
said...
right, there was a yellow curb along the property.
Right, now this is different, it's beyond the yellow curb, there's no parking. But I'm happy to talk to you about it, because I'd have to, go back and look at it myself, I don't remember exactly.
Very well, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Sorry.
Where have you been?
John Kopek. Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor, and Borough Administrator. 764 Maywood Avenue, Maywood, New Jersey. It's a twofold, but not long. During the storm, I don't know how long ago, we had a bad wind and a sign fell down on the corner of Forest.
And Maywood?
Yeah, in Maywood. Maywood Avenue, and supposedly when it fell, it was called East Forest Avenue. And now it was replaced with Forest Avenue. And the traffic and the volume that we're getting down that dead-end street, I had to put 2 yellow cones up in my driveway and put a sign, please do not ask me if this is Paramus. So, it's been that way for quite some time. And if it is Forest Avenue, fine, but when I bought the house in 2007, it was East Forest Avenue.
It is East Forest Avenue.
And
Why
now
did you
it's...
call me? Why did you wait so long? Just call me. What do you mean? You just...
Oh, well, I don't know.
She's got a bunch of, a box full of E's.
Yeah.
You got a box of these? Okay.
Sesame Street, E for...
Berta, that'd be great, just to...
I didn't know it was down, John, I'm sorry.
It's back as Forest, that's what happened. Is that-
Yeah, and, people are thinking it's Forest Avenue in Paramus, and,
Trying to cut through.
yeah, and one guy just kept
But they're
going.
really confused. They're going this way, they're going that way.
Just went right through. He said,
Maybe we should call the cops.
This is Forest Avenue, and I'm going.
Maybe we should have the chief have a
If you had
car
the E,
there.
that
That'd be
would
a
be great.
really good one for
Yeah,
e-tickets.
Put the
He
E
would be great. It would help us a great
Because
deal.
obviously Mendez was West Forest at one point, so it got changed to Mendez.
Well, yeah, whatever, Mr. Mayor, whatever would be best. And the second issue has always been one that's been going on for, Mr. Fleischer knows where I'm going with this, but the permits for landscapers, it's gone. Last year, Roberta helped me. I was getting license plate numbers
We
and all
called
kinds.
everybody. We called every one of them.
I know you did, and if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to continue it since this seems to be the only way to...
You do know that we've reduced the fee, and we feel, yes, the ordinance was changed in our new fee ordinance, and now it's $25 instead of $100, if I remember correctly, for the landscapers. 50? Whatever, it's less.
25 down to 50.
Right,
So
and
it's
everybody's
$50?
very happy, $50, I
Except for you.
think. Right.
Well,
Except, but wait, but we do need to treat the trees on, the little bushes on West Pleasant, and John was nice enough to help us, so we'll need a spring treatment too.
I would do that for you.
I know you will.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Just tell me what you want, it's done.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you want...
But
me to-
anyhow, I think that everybody, I think that now that it's a more reasonable fee, we will find that everybody pays it, but we will do the same thing we've done in the past and go after every one of them.
Thank you, Bertie, you've been a great
Piece of
help
advice,
last year.
don't do any spraying till you get the E.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Whose side are you
All right,
on?
close it to the public. That's right, guys. I don't think we need borough engineer here anymore. Anybody have any more issues with borough engineer? Thank you for sticking around.
Thank you.
All right, resignations.
Have a good night.
We have two resignations. Robert Votto from the Maywood First Aid Emergency Squad effective March 12, 2013, and Michael Van Rensselaer from the Maywood Fire Department Undying Hose Company Number 1 effective March 12, 2013. Anyone wish to move the resignation?
I'll move the resignations, Mr. Mayor.
Second?
Roll call.
Barone?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Ballerini?
Yes.
Fleischman?
Yes.
Fedray?
Yes.
We have no appointments. Council approval. Rosary Society of Our Lady Queen of Peace Church, permission to hold an off-premises 50/50 raffle at Our Lady Queen of Peace Church, 400 Maywood Avenue, Maywood, New Jersey, September 22, 2013 at 3 p.m. From the Maywood Youth Athletic Association. Request to hold their annual opening day parade Saturday, April 13, 2013, starting at 9:30 a.m. from West Pleasant Avenue north onto Wyoming Avenue to Memorial Park. And number 3, from the Maywood Fire Police, request to use Memorial School parking lot on Saturday, April 20, 2013, to accommodate parking from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Anyone wish to move these matters?
Move for the approval.
Second.
Roll call.
Barone?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Ballerini?
Yes.
Fleischman?
Yes.
Fedray?
Yes for 1 and 2, abstain from 3.
Resolutions by title.
Resolution 5413, a resolution supporting the Bergen County Mutual Aid Plan and Rapid Deployment Force in the Borough of Maywood, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey. Resolution 5513, transfer of appropriation reserves.
Wish to move for adoption.
I'll move for adoption of 5413 and 5513.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Barone?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Ballerini?
Yes.
Fleischman?
Yes.
Fedray?
Yes.
Introduction of ordinances.
Ordinance 113, an ordinance amending Section 3 of Chapter 65 of the Borough of Maywood Municipal Code entitled Supervision, Public Works Manager in the Borough of Maywood.
Motion for introduction.
Move for the introduction.
Second.
Roll call.
Barone?
Yes.
Eisenberg?
Yes.
Ballerini?
Yes.
Fleischman?
Yes.
Fedray?
Yes.
Be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Maywood that ordinance 113 pass on first reading, and that said ordinance will be further considered for final passage in the meeting of the Mayor and Council to be held on March 26, 2013 at 8:15 p.m. at the Borough Hall, 15 Park Avenue, Maywood, New Jersey, at which time and place all persons interested therein will be given an opportunity to be heard concerning the same. The Borough Clerk is hereby authorized and directed to advertise the same according to law.
We go on to the action list, which is on the next page. The Oak Avenue sidewalk and roadway improvement, I guess we kind of addressed that earlier. What are we
Mayor,
waiting for?
well, I would just ask that any of the council people who would like to take a look at the situation and then make a decision based on that, I'd be happy to visit the site with them so they understand what we're trying to do at this present time.
Anybody have any additional discussion on that? Okay. And while we're on the topic, I guess sidewalks, even though it's not okay, sidewalk.
Well, I've reached out to a number of contractors. FEMA had recommended a couple of people to us who had done sidewalks in other towns for the FEMA, because this is reimbursable by 75% by FEMA. And the ones that they recommended, who they had very good results from, unfortunately are too busy to give us an estimate. So I've reached out to a couple of other people, and I'm waiting for quotes back so that we can proceed with at least the sidewalks and aprons and curbs that were damaged as a result of Sandy.
So you okay?
Yes.
Ready for the,
I mean, we're ready, we have the estimate, but if anybody has a question, I would like everybody to see what I'm talking about so they know exactly what we're doing and what we've done
does anybody have an
in the
objection to
meantime.
putting a resolution on for the next meeting? To proceed with the next item is the sign ordinance revision. We had talked previously about updating sign ordinance in town potentially regarding election signs.
Oh.
And I've given you copies of what is actually from the South Hackensack ordinance, which I indicated to everybody for you to look at, comment, and see where we're going with that someday. You'll notice that South Hackensack specifically defines election signs in their sign ordinance as any sign promoting the election or defeat of any candidate, candidates, or slate of candidates, or promoting the passage or defeat of any public question in any public election conducted within the borough. And it also goes on to state that election signs are permitted in any district and exempt from any requirement of permit or fee, but nevertheless only upon the following conditions. Such signs shall be composed of such material specified in the temporary sign definition. No sign shall be permitted within any portion of a public right-of-way. No sign shall be permitted to exceed on its face greater than 16 square feet. That's a number that they use that may be a little large, but it's basically a 4x4 sign per side. No such sign permitted shall be installed closer to 10 feet from the curb line. No such sign shall be permitted prior to 30 days before, nor later than 4 days following the election of candidates for a proposition or ballot question or proposal referred to in such sign or signs, or the election at which the public question referred to in such sign or signs is to be voted on. The next one that I crossed out is directly from South Hackensack's provision, which indicates that every sign has to designate who is sponsoring the sign in compliance with the New Jersey ELEC law. And quite frankly, I'm not so sure that the ordinance needs to have that provision on it, that there is an ELEC law that requires that information.
Right.
So I don't know that the borough is going to trump that anyway, and whether or not that's even necessary. Right now, our borough does not permit election signs of any sort, quite frankly, on property in residential zone. There are very limited signs that are permitted in the residential zone. Real estate signs are permitted or exempt, but that's pretty much it. Obviously, commercial zones, there are different signs that are permitted, none of which having to do with elections or temporary type signs of election nature. I guess typically over the signs have gotten real bigger. The standalone signs, I think there's something along the lines of 28 inches by 32 inches maybe at this point. The standard freestanding sign. But this is something for the council to think about. We had a resident who brought this to our attention. And we can certainly continue this discussion going forward and see where we want to take it. So if anybody has any comments.
The only thing, if we would add to that the responsible parties, the people responsible for placing the signs shall remove them within a certain time period after election day, so it's nobody else's.
4 days.
4 days following.
Oh, I'm sorry, when you read
Placing
that.
it says that they have to be removed.
Oh, okay,
So
I'm sorry.
technically, if it's on your front lawn and somebody else placed it.
I think we got a first copy up here, we got an actual one.
Yeah, I didn't get one, sorry.
Sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I would just, on the issue of the face area of the sign, Are we talking about both sides totaling square feet, 16 square feet?
No,
I don't think that's the way it's written.
it's saying, right now it's 4 by 4, so it's pretty...
That's half a sheet of plywood. That's a pretty significant, way out of what, most people are used to seeing. I mean,
Would like to see.
I think it's, or like to see is exactly right. I think, from just personal experience and having done this, and I think everybody up here, maybe with the exception of Gene, has, at one point or another looked at what the, standard signs are. I mean, I think we should all just kind of take a look at it and see what we would agree with.
2 by 3?
What's the number you said?
I'm not sure what the standard...
24 by 8, 24 by 18, I
I think
thought.
maybe a little even bigger than 2. I think there might be 28 inches.
They're 18 by 24 and 30 by 30.
That's what I thought, 24 by 18.
36,
30 by 36.
So 3 by 3?
Okay, 3 by 3 would be,
9 feet. So, yeah, I mean, if we just change it to 9 feet, it gives you a little latitude in case,
Just a question, while we're on the sign issue here, is it okay to put in here to limit the number of signs allowed?
Well, I think it's a good point, but the problem we're having now is, and it's not a problem, but the situation we're facing now is that the school board elections are also in November. So you could potentially have, this year, I think, I don't know, is there 2 school board members up for this year? Is it 3? Okay. So you could potentially have 6 candidates for school board, 4 candidates for council, and that's just the local.
and some use
So now you're gonna have
votes or
a
budget
governor's
votes.
election, you're gonna have county, you're gonna have the state assembly and senate this year. I don't know, it's a good point, because you may have all of those signs on one piece of property.
Like it said, no permit fee required, but maybe apply for a permit to put the signs up and limit the number. You have to apply for a permit.
First Amendment.
No, I'm...
Well, look,
ACLU is out to get
I
you.
still would change signs. I would have a heart attack right now if I said that. But, and also, can we include, like, construction or job signs? When contractors work and they leave job signs for weeks on end, or build signs out of plywood and posts and leave them on lawns? Is that something that...
Shouldn't be allowed.
that's a good point too, because again, those signs are not permitted in the residential zone. There are very limited signs that are permitted in the residential zone. You could have a house number, you could have a real estate,
Right.
real estate signs, but you really can't have anything else under our order. Not that anybody else is going out there enforcing that. That's a good point.
So what's the wish of the council? Get this going for introduction?
Well, you want to have
Tune it up.
the thorough attorney crafted into an ordinance, and we'll take a look at it again.
Do we like the 9 feet number or the...
It's too big.
No, 3 by 3.
Not 3 by 3.
9 square feet.
Or 1 by 9.
On a residential property?
Right, that's a standard sign.
It's like a political regular sign.
The standard freestanding sign is about...
Maybe a little less than that, but I mean, we really
24
want to
by
get the ruler out,
18,
you know?
I think should have prepared it for Congress on a 3 by 3.
Whose dream is that?
That would be the one question, right? I mean, I agree with you about eliminating 6, it's a state statute, they have their own requirements there.
You want to take a look at the construction signs? Contractor signs.
What about those instances where, for number 4, there are some properties that don't have that 10 feet? I'm sure there aren't many of them, but I'm sure there are some that don't have that 10 feet.
Well, what's the penalty for doing it, right? I mean, it's not like someone's going to give it a...
Sign is removed.
Yeah, I mean, that...
The sign police go around and remove the sign.
Yeah, so take the sign down, remove it, or whatever, right? I mean...
Look, I think there is a provision for the right of way, typically that is a 10-foot setback, but you don't need the duplication of it, you don't need the duplication of it.
I think it's fair to, call out, again...
On the grass, between the sidewalks, and we got a lot of...
But that's in the right of way.
It-
If you keep the right of way prohibition in,
Mayor,
eliminate the 10 feet.
I mean, basically, this was a resident's request. This is not something that the council is trying to impose upon anybody. The residents who had asked that we limit the amount of signs.
Well, I think it was a resident brought it to the attention of the
Right,
council,
so-
and it very well may be a good idea, given the fact that we do have multiple candidates.
Right.
in November.
It doesn't look right.
No, I'm just saying that we're not imposing something, we're reacting to a request from a resident who like to keep Maywood looking the way they are used to seeing it.
Why don't you draft up something and
I will.
we'll take another look at it at the next, meeting and stuff.
What about more than multiples of one particular sign on a property? Do you want to limit the amount of sign?
Like a corner house? We'll have to.
I think if you get into the same sign situation, you may be getting into a content issue, then now you're saying, well, you could have a bunch of signs so long as 2 or more don't say the
Same thing.
You know, and then we may be getting into a First Amendment situation where we're kind of regulating what it says. I don't know. Leave that to the lawyers.
You know, the more specific you get with that, you know, the harder you get with
trouble you're looking for.
regulations, the more apt it is to be, turned if somebody really wanted to fight it.
I think this does a good job of just bringing some structure, which is what has been the sort of common way of doing political signs in the town. 30 days before the event, 4 days after the event, seems like a reasonable time to, solicit support through signs. No fees, no penalties, just, good common sense guidelines to what campaign signs should look like.
Yeah, I'm all for even removing the other signs. And what you can do
I just don't, I know what you're talking about. There are some lawns where it's just,
I'm not talking about on the
But the number of signs that can be distributed, townwide. Oh.
Yeah, kind of like the garage sale permit, you get 4 signs or 6 signs, and there you go, your permit. This, if you register or...
Can you really do that, though?
I don't know if you can really...
That's different, that's very different.
I don't know. How do you do that? Who's going to count?
I'm sure you can do it in a homeowners association, you
Yeah.
can do whatever you want, but this is...
And what about the event signs? I know we get calls on that sometimes, different events, where they
What do you
put
mean?
them.
Oh, we see that with the street fair.
The street fair sign.
When the street fair signs get attached to telephone poles or chained to telephone poles.
But, different events throughout the town that are,
I think this would apply now, or no?
I don't know, that's what I'm saying.
I think you have to.
It says
Well,
election signs, if you want to include, I don't know if you
What
want
event
to.
signs are we talking about?
Easy tricky tray thing?
Yeah.
5K run, the tricky tray.
No, even other towns put it in. You know what I mean? I'm not even saying for Maywood events.
Well,
even other
technically, you're not
towns.
supposed to post signs on public service
Yeah,
poles
yeah,
or,
Generally,
right.
those things are gone in a couple days, this is stuff...
And you can't put them on borough trees either. Well, a lot
Borough
of times
trees?
Jim is outside taking signs down.
Telephone poles, trees, all that stuff. Yeah, those come
That's
down very
what
quick.
you're saying, that's good.
Again, the reality of it is, if they're not permitted, they're prohibited.
Right.
Technically, right now, election signs are not permitted. They really aren't.
I agree with Mr. Bowling, just give some structure for what's not structured, basically. I think
Go
this is
from
basically
there.
the guidelines we've been following anyway. I don't think, it doesn't seem too unreasonable, it's pretty much what's happening anyway.
Right, and if somebody asks to see, we do get questions. Do you have any guidelines on this? What are the rules and regulations?
Right.
We print it out or tell them to go online or whatever. And this way, you're right, it's guidelines. That's what you need to do.
So I suggest 9 feet, I don't think it's been voted on.
Well,
I was
going to do it, we're not voting on this per se, but I'll do one and then we can always add it next time. Right before the meeting, 2 months.
7:10 on the night of the meeting. We'll get
Number 3?
Anybody else on this issue? Next item is the ordinance regarding criminal background checks. I think we need to obviously codify that, so
It's sitting on my desk.
okay, craft an ordinance that we can start to take a look at and make sure that it's in there, that we need to be in there and follow the state statute. The statute is very clear as to what is the criteria for things that should be looked at or looked for in the criminal background check, and things that are typically, prohibiting or used to prohibit people to be coaches or things that should be checked on a criminal background. And they're items, they're specifically cited in the state law, but they are items regarding serious injury to individuals or use of deadly weapons, and endangering the welfare of children, luring, second-degree robberies, drug charges of a significant amount, not disorderly persons drug charges, but certain drug charges that are higher up the degree chart on the degrees of crimes in New Jersey. So there are very specific criteria that the state law already lays out that we can codify in our ordinance that we're going to have. So maybe we get that circulated around to everybody. Also, start taking a look at that. And maybe something, Mr. Maloney brings up a good point, something to add into that is to put in a clause of if somebody is certified or checked from another municipality, that there is a procedure for validating that as well.
Just, Mr. Mayor, just so we're clear on that, if someone applies for a permit for a firearm when they get fingerprinted, or if they're a professional attorney or prosecutor, what have you, none of that stuff counts. You have to have the specific fingerprint just for the specific purpose. Now, it counts if you had this, in a different town or what have you, if you moved here, if it's within the last 3 years, that still counts. But you could go get a gun, get fingerprinted the day before you go to it, doesn't count.
Can I just ask one question? I'm not very familiar with the softball program. I know it's a combination of, Rochelle Park and Maywood, but are the kids on one team from one town, or do they mix the kids from the two towns onto teams?
No, they're from that town. They're from that town.
So,
But they're playing.
And I said, we did this with the Big Diamond baseball team. We had Rochelle Park teams and Maywood teams, we played kind of in the same league.
Yeah, they mix it.
They're mixing.
They mix it in on top.
So you could have a Rochelle Park resident coaching.
Not the young.
No, not the little
older
children.
children.
The older ones.
Okay,
Yeah.
because I just wanted, I was
Kids
just,
for
to tell me we're kind of like, driving through a solution for something that may not even apply, right? Because we have traveling baseball teams, we're on teams that come to town, and I didn't want to get out some slippery slope where, every resident, every coach who steps foot on the field, but this is restricted to the Maywood programs and the Maywood coaches.
Right, Maywood programs.
Yeah, okay.
That's right. Right.
No requirement for teams that are using the field via permit?
No.
Travel baseball teams?
Maywood teams,
like that?
Maywood children, well, not Maywood children, Maywood teams.
Just MYA.
Basically, and also, you're talking also about the swim pool, you're talking about the recreation.
Right, that I got, right. The sports programs tend to just be sometimes a little blurred, the lines,
So would it be organizations that fall under our insurance? Would that be the criteria?
It's MYAA. I mean, it's like.
Well, MRPGS is not part of MYA.
It's a set, but they are quasi.
But they are,
They do
right.
receive funding, yeah.
But if it was like a club baseball team,
Right,
and
I get
they
that.
just say, can we use the field,
Permit
and
the field.
that's not us.
Okay.
Thank you.
But typically those coaches overlap into the coach.
It's the same group, but officially it's not.
Anything else? Any new business? Old business? Miscellaneous business? Anybody have anything to close?
I do not.
No. Anybody want to make a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to 6 o'clock. All in favor? Aye.
Oh, wow.
10 o'clock,
I just, I wasn't looking there.
I thought we made record time.